Another one here that we should talk about, Josh Horton, defensive tackle from Atlanta, Georgia. I think he ended up as a 4-star, was a riser as a senior, kind of a late blooming prospect. Miami flipped him from North Carolina. Really, really liked him coming in. He was a very, they were excited to get him. He was definitely a riser. I was excited about him. He made a ton of plays as a senior. Just seeing him in practice, the guy looked absolutely what you want a defensive tackle to look like. The problem was, and Seth knows this because he's at practice as well, most of the time he was off there to the side doing rehab. So I think with Horton, even more so than Patterson, you were talking about somebody who just, due to injuries, was unable to really perform at the level that we needed him to perform.
Yeah, and look, he was a guy that we got excited about, I think, multiple times here. And at the same token, you didn't hear us say much about him this spring because it was just, I think, a lot of the same stuff that's held him back to this point. Now, we said it. There's only so many of those guys walking around with that size and athletic ability. So probably was afforded, more opportunities. And when I say more opportunities, I'm not saying he was like a bad kid or anything, but I'm just saying like more opportunities in terms of like keeping him on the roster, essentially, not pushing him out the door, because you always said if that light ever went off, you really could have something there. And he's that body type that you're potentially, wanting to add maybe in the portal. If they do bring someone in there, it's that sort of body type, which you wouldn't have had to go that route if everything was, where you wanted it to be with him. So another guy that hoping that he, makes the best of whatever his next situation is, but for whatever reason, just did not work out here.
He looks like a specimen, but he's just not on the field because he's banged up, whatever it might be. He just hardly played. Even in practice, he just was hardly out there. And you can't take up a spot, especially when the coaches think we're close. They really honestly feel we're close. And so you got to fill that cupboard in the way that you think that the team's going to perform at its best. And he just, again, he's a good kid, actually. He just didn't play enough. Take the spot and give it to someone that hopefully that's going to play.
Similar to Zaquan, you got to have to replace him in the portal. Zaquan's going to be, that money's going to go to, I think, a starting caliber safety. It's my prediction. We'll see. I'll be dropping the bank later on this week with absolute latest on the portal. I think a starting caliber safety that if one jumps in the portal, you're going to pair him with Poyser. And then with Horton, you would have loved for him to be your 4th defensive tackle this year with Scott, Blay, and Moten. That's not going to happen. Dante Simpson looks really, really good, but young. There's some other guys in the mix, Artavius Jones flashes, etc. But I think you want just some veteran depth there. So I think you see a 4th defensive tackle in the portal to replace the role that probably should have been filled by Horton if he was healthier, if he was more consistent.
Yeah, it's a tough. It's kind of like running back in a sense that you're telling a guy you're probably coming in as the 3rd or 4th guy at that spot, so you'll be a rotational piece. So how many players are willing to do that? Now, we've said this before. Are there unforeseen circumstances where guys become available that you maybe weren't expecting to? Of course, I don't see that happening at D tackle. It's a very, very big ticket item, as you say, D. But that's the tough thing, because people, every time we talk about this, they say, well, don't get guys like we've grabbed the last few years that don't necessarily fit the size that you're looking for. That's the tough thing about this position, man. There's only so many guys with that big time ability that you can go get. Do you maybe have to take a guy like an Anthony Campbell, right, who limited in terms of production at his previous stop, but you say, man, we've got a really big body here to work with that could potentially provide us something in a pinch. I would think it'd be more on that side of things, D.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just a veteran body. The good thing with defensive tackle is, you're going to play, right, because of the rotation. So whoever we get as that 4th defensive tackle is going to play. So even if they're not the starter, they know they're going to get some opportunities, and they feel confident about that. Negative is you're going to pay for it. I know they flirted with the defensive tackle, kind of rotational defensive tackle out of UCF in the winter. I think that's the kind of guy you're looking at when it comes to bringing somebody in to just take snaps. You could also have an Armando Blunt play inside at times, a Messidor play inside at times, a Ruben Bain play inside at times. Even the Hayden Lowe, man, we saw him in person. The guy's giant. So there's guys that can kind of play inside at times. You hope Artavius Jones continues to emerge and take steps. You hope Dante Simpson is ready to maybe give you what Justin Scott gave you last year as a true freshman. I think that's in the table or on the cards. On the table in the cards. I think that's on the table in the cards to potentially play inside this year in a limited role. You don't want defensive tackles playing too much as true freshmen, but this guy's been given his problems all spring, beating first, second team offensive linemen with his quickness and his size. That's a very positive development. I don't know if that directly had anything to do with Horton leaving. Horton's a 3-year player. This is the first year for Dante Simpson, but certainly Dante Simpson got a lot of action this spring with Horton on the sidelines, and he made the most of it. He really, really has improved his standing as a player based on what he did this spring.